Hello friends, we'll be discussing the concept of nature and money here. So basically, what exactly the definition of money means, what is the concept of money, is something that we are going to understand when we understand this concept of basic elements of money and banking. Money and banking being two of the most major important concepts of economics of any country. Take it India or take it any other country, this will be one of the major or rather important functions or other important aspects of economy of any country here. So basically, to understand this concept, let us understand what exactly the definition of money is and how accordingly it will go hand in hand with the concept of money and banking together. Now, the nature of money, or rather the concept of money that we are going to discuss about, economists have different theories about this specific concept. Economists and thinkers have found that it is not easy to define money, though easily recognizable. Money is one of the most important thing that can be easily recognized. You cannot just define money, however. It has been defined, or rather there are different definitions for money as per every economist, every thinker that exists, or rather that has been existing since a long time here. This is because over a recorded history, a large variety of items have performed the role of money. So basically, it is not just the coins that we have, or rather the paper money, plastic money, credit cards, etc. that we have. Before the human civilization came into the concept, or rather the economy concept came into picture, there were barter system, there were coins, metal coins, different items which has performed the role of money. So basically, there has been a role play of money before the actual money could come into the picture here. Hence, defining money would be a different job, or rather would be a tough job here. But as compared to the one that has to be subdued, or rather one has to be shown forward in terms of actual definitions of money, that couldn't be done, or rather till date we haven't been able to define money at any given point of time. So how exactly can we define money? What are the features that needs to be a part of any element that can constitute money in the whole scenario here? Hence, for this reason, it cannot be defined by referring to its tangible features such as the stuff is made of, or rather its weight, the size, shape, color, chemical composition, and so on. So basically, just to make sure that money can be defined as a specific weight, it has to be, or in terms of the metal, it has to be the sizing, the texture, the kind of color it has. Considering all these options, we cannot define, or rather we cannot make sure that this is the kind of money material that has to be here. Hence, the exact form of money has undergone innumerable changes. For the same reason itself, whatever concept of money that we had, it has undergone a lot of changes, something that we cannot count here. These changes have been influenced by the dynamism of the society as a whole, which includes its political, social, and economic institutions and the policies of the government. To give you a brief description of this thing, we understand that at any given point of time, the dynamism of this specific money has undergone a lot of changes. To make sure that money has changed right from the barter system where we used to exchange items, and that reflected, or rather that role played money in the first instance. Now that thing being changed, or the same thing being moved on to some different concept altogether, we have figured out that it may be political, it may be social, it may be economic institutions that must have changed the money concept, or rather that must have changed the size, texture, composition of money in the whole scenario altogether. Hence, just to make sure that everything works out fine, we have defined, or rather we have selected few definitions of money here. Let's go through them. The evolution of money has proved to be an unending and continuous process. Make sure the emphasis is on unending because this has been going on since a long term and it's a continuous process here. It doesn't stop at any given point of time, which can be seen from the fact that apart from the commodity money and metallic money, lately there is an emergency of paper money and variety of other financial instruments or other institutions here basically. Now, if we have to define money, earlier we had metal coins, then we had gold coins, we had some different coins altogether which replaced money. In the emergency, or rather in the latest environment that we are living into, we have paper money, we have plastic money. These two are the new additions for the money market here. Paper money, basically the notes that you use. Plastic money is something that is a digital form. basically the credit cards, basically the apps that you use, or rather the UPI apps that you use to pay any kind of services or rather any kind of details here. Hence, money has transformed, but the value of money hasn't changed here. That means the effect that can be caused because of any of these details hasn't changed here by any means. Hence, it is noteworthy that the money is not something which, having come into existence, continues to be of original form. Out of all these things, you have already figured out that money hasn't changed its value, but it has changed a lot of forms. It has changed its forms at every given interval, every dynamism it has taken into effect. And because of all these changes, although the form of the money must have changed, but the value it holds has remained constant. It has remained instant here and instinct. So various things have served money at different times and places. Whatever things we have been into, or rather whatever items, whatever things that you want to purchase, you know that there is one thing that is required, that is money. Be it any kind of form or materialistic thing that you want to buy, it can be bought only if you have money. Now money can be of different form. It can be of metal coins, it can be of silver jewelry, it can be of anything that is kind enough to be replaced as money, apart from the paper and the plastic money that we have. Hence, these varied form of shells, goat cows, rice, etc., to silver and gold pieces to coins, paper currency, notes, and demand deposits of banks. So basically, they have started off from shells, or rather the gold coins, the silver items that we had earlier as a term, or rather during the era where probably before we had existence of money, we used to use these coins, or rather these materials, as a form of money to exchange goods. Later on, which came up to the barter exchange, where we exchange cows, sheep, rice platters, etc., grains. All these things were used to make sure that money is replaced by these. And then came the time, the medieval period, whereby we understood that apart from these items, we can actually mint money here and make sure that this is the common form, or rather one of the most used form, apart from cows, goats, apart from gold coins, because the value of the money was different at that point of time. However, at this time, we took all these minting machines into progress, and all these things were used to make sure, which has been now replaced by paper money and plastic money. So there are different forms that has been taken care into consideration while defining money here. Money was brought into existence to tide over the difficulties of barter. Now, as you know, that barter system was a vague kind of system, because if you have to purchase, or rather if you have to buy 1 kilo of rice, you had to give out something which is more precious to it, maybe one cow instead of 1 kilo of rice. Imagine the kind of weight, pros and cons that would have happened during that point, or rather that medieval period, when we would have figured out that for 1 kilo of rice, basically you might have think, or rather you might be thinking that how vague the comparison would have been. Just to avoid that kind of tendency here, money was taken in a different form altogether. Hence, in this process, it helped the economy in such a manner that its use has become indispensable now. So because of all these things, when money came into the actual form here, the use of that money has become indispensable now. It has responded to the ever-changing nature of economy and its growing complexity. So basically, all these nature and economies have changed because of the over-increasing complexity that we have in any of these situations here. In turn, it has helped the economy in acquiring those complex features without which the later could not have been developed. Now, because of this complexity that money brought in, it has helped the economy to achieve the later part. That means the barter exchange thing, changing the form of barter exchange to a common form, was achievable only because of this money enterprise, or rather money thing that came into the picture at any given point of time. So, if you have to describe money, or rather if you have to explain the concept of money, these are the forms, or rather this is the chronological order that you have to go into when it comes to the various forms of money and the concept of money and near money. So basically, concept and near money is something which we are talking about is money and things that were nearby, or rather that could be replacing money in the near future things. These are the instances, or rather this is the explanation that you can give for this specific concept. That's it for the video. Thank you.